I gotta get up at like 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah. I wake up in the late afternoon. I call Parnell just to see how he's doing. What up, Chris? Yo, Sandberg, what's happening? You thinking what I'm thinking? Narnia? Man, it's happening. This is called Lazy Sunday, but it's the chronic What Culls of Narnia. But first, my hunk of pains are sticking like duct tape. So let's hit up Magnolia's and mac on some cupcakes. No doubt the bakery's got all the bomb frostings. I love those cupcakes like McAdams loves Jocelyn. And then they put up whatever that movie is.
We're live on Facebook.
Well, I better stop. Thank you for telling me. I like that.
Dude, isn't that great?
I like that.
That is great. It has the...
It's like a revolver.
You better be good. Is it working?
Oh, you know what? I didn't even check.
We recorded on Thursday, Juan, and you did not miss much from a whiskey standpoint.
We are live, yes. You're showing we are live. You didn't like it?
Well, shall we?
I just didn't think it was... I didn't dislike it, but I will say that I didn't like it. You know, like...
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Well, we'll see how this one goes.
It's all about the Hamiltons, baby.
Okay.
It's also from that song I was singing. I like this. That's nice.
Warning. The
I see it?
Catholic Man Show is about to begin. If you're looking
better
for
than I
dull,
thought.
feel-good religion, or clap your hands, sit around the campfire kumbaya,
It's nice.
you've come to the wrong place. We are dealing with toxic levels of authentic masculinity. I would say good luck, but luck is for pagans.
Welcome to the Catholic Man Show. You know what? We're going to start off on a bad foot.
Okay.
I don't know how often we start off on a bad foot
On purpose?
on purpose.
Oh, I'm going to say never.
Can't
Can't say it anymore, though, I guess.
No. I'm upset with you.
That doesn't surprise me.
Why does that not surprise you?
Because this happens from time to time.
Of me just getting upset with you?
Yeah. In
Well-
fact, you were complaining to things right before we started recording.
Yes, but those things are not even why I'm upset with you.
Okay.
I think I know why.
Is it because I wore a black shirt?
No, I don't care about your black shirt.
Okay.
It's because we still have not done a baby bottle.
Oh, I know. I was telling Lady Pamela this yesterday in the car.
I knew it.
Susanna is how old?
She's 6 months.
That is almost really if it was anybody if it wasn't a founder of the group, we would have kicked him out by now.
Can I slap him?
No. No slapping.
At your own risk, Juan.
So I don't know. Haley and we're having a baby tomorrow. So
Yeah. Congratulations, by the way.
thank you. We thought actually we kind of lied last week, not on purpose, but we said this will be the last episode before we have a baby, and then
Yeah.
the night before we go in to have our baby.
It's not a lie. It just turned out to be not true.
Right. So, I would urge you to get that done.
Okay.
I think it's
Just need to
important.
go in and pick one out.
Yeah. Just go do it.
Okay. I
All
will.
right. For those who don't know what the baby bottle is.
Why don't you explain about the baby bottle?
Well, what baby did we start with? Did we start
I think
with
Elizabeth.
With Elizabeth?
Yeah.
Elizabeth.
McCullen's 12.
McAllen's 12. Okay, so what we decided to do is we got a group of guys together and we said, okay, when one of our wives has a baby, we will all pitch in money and buy a nice bottle of whiskey for us to share. And we would write the names of the child on the bottle and keep the bottle as a keepsake and have a nice evening.
Yeah, we would just pour one glass each, I think, right?
That's what we started off with. And then we were like,
Then we bailed
that's
on that.
That's a stupid idea.
Yeah. Now we just finished the bottle.
Well,
Wait for him to get here.
Okay. Well, we don't finish the bottle. But
We do. But there's 4 of us now, and
5 of us, maybe.
5 of us. Yeah, I mean, so it's
It's over a long period of time. Okay,
and
so
it's a planned event.
correct.
So
So we do it in
We
moderation.
make preparations.
So tonight we're having a very interesting whiskey. We're having a historic whiskey. It's called Doc Holliday. Many will know Doc Holliday from the movie Tombstone, but he was actually a real character.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm your Huckleberry.
Yeah, he was played by. I just went blank on his name. What is his name? The Top Gun guy, Val Kilmer. Thank you.
Yes.
I said thank you to myself. But he played by Val Kilmer. It's a great movie until you go watch it again and you realize how much cussing is in it and things. And you're like, wow, I did not.
Yeah, just this is where like Vid Angel really helps.
But there was a real person named Doc Holliday,
Yeah.
and his name was John Henry Holliday. He was a dentist, hence the Doc part. But he was involved with the gunslinging event that happened in Tombstone, Arizona, which made him kind of famous.
He killed people.
Right.
He's a dentist on the side.
So we started. We're having Doc Holliday. It's an 8-year bourbon. It's a beautiful bottle. It has
The
a
lid.
really
Let's talk
sweet.
about the cap.
The cap has a revolver with 6, not 9, 6 shells. Is what it looks like.
So it looks like a revolver. I don't know. What do you call
Cap.
that part of the revolver?
Belly.
The part where you put the bullets in a revolver.
The belly of the
You can
beast.
spin around.
Right.
But it looks, it feels better than it looked.
Mhm.
It looks cool, but then you get your hands on that cap and it's like, oh,
Right.
that's
So this
nice.
is cask strength. Now here's why it's also historic. They don't make it anymore. The distiller went out of business a few years back. I think 2018, 2019. It's called Mountain Ivory Distillery or something like that. They went out of business. People in Texas bought the remaining casks, and then it was sold off again to in Georgia. And so the remaining casks are still in Georgia being bottled. But once they're done, they're not making anymore. So that's why it's a pretty.
And it's also cask strength, you said.
It is, so it's going to be strong.
Okay.
So
So we
but
got the water here again.
we have the water here again. Yes.
This
So
is 2 cask strength in a row.
yes, and this is an expensive whiskey. So
Okay.
obviously because it's probably hard to get. Like they're
Sure.
not making any more of it. So
How much was it?
135.
Okay. So it's not that's expensive, but it's not 230. Yeah.
Right. So we're on the Lich team.
The winning side.
So where's your glass? Cheers.
Cheers to Jesus.
So the official notes are sweet caramel, butter with buttered cornbread at the very beginning.
Maybe I'm gonna butter your bread.
Swirl of glass. No. Has some orange citrus notes that envelop a chocolatey malt blanket. The palate says it's beginning with a healthy dose of rye, spice up front. Sweeter notes of caramel and chocolate emerge with intensity.
Woo! Oh, baby.
Fruit flavors. The palate. Let's see. The palate is where the bourbon reaches its high point, enticing you to roll it around your mouth a bit longer and making it a really nice midpoint sip. The finish is spice persists into the finish with rye and pepper and allspice.
Yeah, the rye, the combination of being rye and barrel strength.
Mm-hmm.
That really hits you. Okay. I like it, actually.
It is aggressive.
But man, it is a punch in the face.
Yeah, it is aggressive. Wow.
There's a lot of actually though I like it. There's a lot of flavor. I'm gonna add some water because
See how it opens up?
I can tell there's a lot of great flavor here.
Wow, that is awesome.
But man, when you take that,
I was a
sip-
little tired getting in, like starting this episode, and I took one sip of that, and I am like,
yes
ready.
Also, this is one of those things I'm sure where your first sip is that's the real like
that's the harsh. Yeah.
you know you're following
taste bud
sips.
killers.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you've like kind of already killed all the like skin cells in your throat
Woo!
or whatever. I guess they're not skin cells, throat cells.
That is good. I like it.
Jim,
This is way better than last.
way better than the last one. Okay,
The last one didn't
At least a 4.
a
at least a
four on
four
the yummy scale.
The last one didn't even register on the yummy
No,
scale.
the last one
Did
I'm
not.
pretty sure. Did he pour it out?
Yeah, I
he
think
poured
he
it
did.
out.
Just a little offensive, but
I mean, I didn't think it was that bad.
I didn't either. But
I
I mean, I've had moonshine. I'm like, I'm not pouring this out. you know.
but I
So-
would like some Coke.
Yeah. So anyway, so what else has been going on? What do you have? We have been so busy. It's
Dude, I know.
It has been a little exhausting.
The highlight of my week was getting a zero turn lawnmower.
Yes, I was hoping you were gonna bring this up.
Yeah, dude. And driving it around, I got it stuck today.
You did?
Yeah, in my yard just is. If there has ever been a yard that needs a French drain, it's mine.
Yours,
Okay,
yes.
so it's just like mud.
You have multiple
Everywhere.
French drains is what you're gonna.
Yeah.
have to,
Oh, I
like-
do need. Yeah. And so I was just mowing some leaves, and I didn't realize. Oh, these leaves are not here on flat ground because I just moved in, right?
Right.
And I've never mowed the yard, so there's still many things I'm unfamiliar with, and so it was really like a ditch, and so I went down into it. Luckily, I have a truck with a winch on it.
Yes. Is it working?
Well, it works, but it just doesn't get out of second gear.
Okay.
So-
Which is fine around that.
For driving around, like my little 5 acres, it's fine.
Yeah.
So I, drove the truck. I couldn't actually get it very close because I would have had to drive over the septic lines, and with how soggy the ground is, I would just crush it. But got a rope and extended the winch and just yanked that sucker right out. So I have a bad boy
Mower.
Bad Boy Outlaw, 37 horsepower,
Yep.
zero turn, commercial grade. Basically everything you could ever dream of in a lawnmower. Got off Facebook,
Yes.
used, for a great price.
What was your daughter's reaction when you told them what it was called?
They were confused. There was confusion. Now, it was Davey. So David Jr. has been going through this bad boy phase anyway,
Okay.
where he's been saying that he's a bad boy, or like saying other people are bad boys. And so we're always like, no, David, you're not a bad boy. You're a good boy.
Mm-hmm.
Or, oh, David, we do not call people bad boys. We just it's a phase.
Right.
And so then we got a
bad
bad boy. So he just loved it.
Right.
You know what? I just want to give a shout out to John Deere. Because
About a bad
well,
boy.
it's like I didn't realize how brilliant their marketing has been for so long. Okay, so I bring home this bad boy mower. I've been talking to him, I giving him rides, right? Just the bad boy. We're talking about it, and I ask him, so Davey, what's your favorite kind of tractor? Because in order not to confuse him, I've just been calling it to him a tractor, and he goes, John Deere. And it was like, you know what? Well played, John Deere.
Yeah.
It's really brilliant. They make all these kids movies about John Deere tractors, and so you just grow up loving John Deere. What are you gonna buy? A John Deere, right?
Right. Okay, we're gonna talk about fatherhood, marriage. Very typical for the Catholic Man Show. We'll be right back.
Juan, you need to come see my mower. You need to come see it.
More than see it, I mean to come drive it.
Yeah, you need to come. Yeah, you can totally drive it.
You just want to see me riding and take a picture of me and be like, oh, look, I have a Hispanic cutting my lawn.
Juan, you break it, you buy it. Okay.
Just throwing that out there. I need you to sign here, and here, and initial here.
And this needs to be notarized.
Deacon
You want
Garlic.
some- You want some water?
Just a couple drops.
Just 2? How about 4?
Cuatro. All right, let's keep rolling. Getting up at 4:30.
You can go back to sleep at the hospital.
Oh, did you have a baby?
Oh, it got so loud at one point, I actually woke up. Oh, we scored touchdown. Oh, you're having a baby. I love that stand-up so much.
Oh, hi, Haley.
Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. I'm David Niles here with Adam Minahan, soon to be father of 5. Father of 5 now. Father of
Yeah.
5 now. I mean,
Yeah, I am a father of 5.
yeah. But on the outside, father of 5, soon to be.
We're less than 12 hours
Less than 12
away.
hours, yeah, presumably.
holding-
God willing.
God willing, for me holding my newborn baby boy or girl.
So Lent has begun. If you're listening to us live on Facebook, it's almost begun.
Yeah.
Ash
Wednesday.
I just want to throw out this idea, okay? Because I think certain liturgical seasons, great time to make changes, Lent being one of them.
Sure.
And so I just want to encourage men to dress up for Mass. Lent, this is a great time to up your dress game for Holy Mass. Start it in Lent and keep it going. The Holy Mass is the most sacred thing you ever do in your whole life. So you should be wearing your nicest clothes. Whatever your best is, that's what you should wear. So I'm just kidding. I just want to.
Hey,
You
when
know,
you throw
just
out
throw it
those,
out there.
when you throw out those kind of things, I'm all for your spontaneous, announcements. When those are the type of things,
I
I'm
know
all
that
in.
they make you nervous.
Well, sometimes they do make
Yeah,
me. A
I
little
know
nervous.
that they do. It's all right.
But as
I actually enjoy it.
as Father Gregory Pine has said, that over the last 6 years, I have learned to just be able to prudently take on the craziness of Dave.
What did he say? What did he say about it? the
It's
other
something-
day?
it was something-
Something like the truth hammer or
Yeah,
something.
the Hammer of Truth or something like that. It's like, that was awesome.
Yeah.
And then he followed up with like, let's go. And I was like, you know what? I'm ready. Let's go. I was pumped.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? I like that guy.
I do. I do. Hey, also, we're going to be starting our book club here, hopefully in March. We're going to be reading through The Leisure, the Basis of Culture by Joseph Pieper. So if you have not read that book, or if you even have,
Are you going to do it, Juan?
See, that'll be my first one.
All right.
nice. You have to be a patron. Patreon.com/The
Juan,
Catholic
are
Man
you
Show.
a patron?
Yes.
Yes.
$4.
$4 a month.
Well,
Even the $4 a month ones will get access to the book club. Last one, I think we had on average about 8 that would join us.
That's
Which
really
is
a
a
great number.
great number.
Honestly, it could go a little bit bigger, but you don't want it to get too big.
I have thoroughly enjoyed our book. I know I've said this before, but I have thoroughly enjoyed them.
That's awesome.
Reading with a group of men, and there have been about 4 or 5 guys that have done all of them, and so it's just been really cool to just hang
really
out
get
with
to know
them and
yeah.
be.
The last 2, I've said, I'm going to do it. And then, for whatever reason, it just is not the prudent thing for me to do. And
What
I
Amazon
understand.
is
it's
that,
not out of a lack of desire.
I understand.
What Amazon is that I'm gonna come to his house for the for the book club.
That's fine. I'm not going to be
Show
here.
up. Is it in the chancery that you do it?
Yeah.
I'll show up to the
He
chancery.
does it at a undisclosed.
Undisclosed location. Yes, and I move around every time. So, like we said, I'm gonna Haley and I are gonna be welcoming a baby upcoming, and I thought, you know what, we should do an episode on things that we have learned as fathers of things to do before
Yeah.
welcoming a kid into into the world.
Yeah.
And so I thought, that's what we should talk about tonight is talk about, just some things that I thought, oh, I wish we would have done it this way, or I wish we would have done this. And before we were going to start, I happened to was looking through the Catechism Council of Trent, or the Catechism of the
Just
Council
happened
of
to be
Trent.
perusing it.
Well, I wanted to see what they were talking about marriage, what they mentioned on marriage, because they have a beautiful section of all the sacraments and lay them out. And so we'll talk just really quick because it talks about.
We're big fans of the Catechism of the Council of Trent on
Yes.
this show.
Yes.
Fantastic.
And I love this edition because it's a hardback. It's very beautiful.
Laser precise.
Yes.
Great. Just very crystal clear catechism.
Right. And they talk about the 3 blessings of marriage. So I want to just highlight those because the first one is offspring.
Mm-hmm.
And so then we can talk about the things that we should be prepared for as we welcome in our offspring.
Okay.
But they talk about the 3 blessings of marriage, and the first one is offspring, which may kind of take you some by surprise, thinking the first blessing in marriage is offspring, not your joining together, not the ceremony, not the sacrament itself.
Yeah. See, that's what I would have thought. The sacrament itself. Yeah, graces.
Right.
something like that.
But the first thing that they mention is offspring.
Okay.
And the second one is fidelity.
Okay.
Talks about, the advantage of marriage that is rooted in faith, and they say not like the theological virtue of faith, but that the faith that the two will remain one.
Okay.
For until death do they part.
Yeah.
Which would be such a huge thing back then. It still is today, but with no-fault divorce, it's kind of a little harder to wrap your mind around. But man and woman needed each other so much back when, the dad was out tilling, gardening or whatever, doing the land stuff, and mom was at home, doing the homesteading.
Yeah, I mean, like, women used to be homemakers, and it was, like, probably around the 50s, I don't know exactly, when women stopped being homemakers, and they became, like, the head purchaser, right? When we really transformed into a consumer society, consumer economy, because until then, people, wasn't uncommon for your mom to make clothes or to, like, the decorations in the house, she probably made,
Right.
I mean, she's literally making the home.
Right. In here, I want to read this one sentence. I think it's beautiful.
Okay.
It says, matrimonial fidelity also demands that they love one another with a special, holy, and pure love, not as adulterers love one another, but as Christ loves his church. This is the rule laid down by the apostle when he says, husbands, love your wives as Christ also loved the church. And then they talk about how, Christ loved the church so much that he laid down his life for the church. But I thought that was interesting that they say, not as adulterers love one another.
Yeah.
Because I don't even know if adulterers actually love one another. They're not willing the good of one another.
Right. Yeah.
They're not desiring to be self-sacrificial.
I would say, when you take it at its, like, deepest, most true definition, no, they don't.
Right.
But they do in some, they, in a more platonic way they do. Or is platonic, is that the right word? In a more secular way they do.
Yeah. So, anyway, I thought that was beautiful, though. Just,
That is, yeah. I like how they drew the distinction.
Right. And then the third one is, like we had mentioned, what we thought the first one would be, which is the sacrament, the sacrament of marriage. It's the indissoluble bond of marriage, and they lay. Another thing I love about the Catechism is it's just littered with Bible verses. It's just like intertwined the Bible verses all over. But so anyway, so they talk about those are the three blessings of marriage: offspring, fidelity to one another, and the sacrament. Any thoughts on that?
No, I mean, I think that those are all great. And, that's why we get married.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was trying to think about some of the things that, as we welcome kids into this world, things that we should do, either before or during or after. Like what are some of the things as dads, as husbands, we should be doing?
Sure.
Obviously, as the father, we're the spiritual leaders of our family, and so we should be incorporating prayer as much as we can, especially in big events, right? Especially like when monumental life events happen, we should be giving thanks to God and offering, blessings and sacrifices for these moments. So one of the things that, and I can't remember if we did it with I don't know, this is number 5, so babies are kind of blurring together a little bit as far as like what we did with which one, unfortunately. But you should start a novena to Saint Gerard. Like this is my take, is that you should start a novena to Saint Gerard like within 2 weeks of your due date.
Yeah, and it's difficult because often you don't know when the baby is coming.
Right. That's why I said within start 2 weeks.
Just give yourself time.
Now, Saint Gerard is the patron saint of expectant mothers. There's some beautiful prayers.
And of the Minahan household.
And of he is the patron saint of the Minahan household. There's some beautiful prayers to Saint Gerard. There's beautiful novenas, which novenas are very good to incorporate within your family life because it is very specific prayer that all the family can come together and pray. And there's ritual. There is like set times to pray, and so and they're not very long typically, so they're easy to pray together as a family. But they're 9. It's prayer for 9 days. Novena is what it's
Means
called.
9.
Means
yeah.
9. So that's one thing that I think is a great way to not only prepare yourself, but also prepare the family for the welcoming of a new child.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, prayer. That's one of those things, like you think back on your major events and it's like, man, what a great idea. I wish I had incorporated like more prayer, surrounding these,
Right.
The most significant moments of my life.
Right.
I wish I had invited God into them.
Into those moments.
Not that he wasn't a part of them, but, been more intentional and specific about it.
So I think that, if you're considering any kind of big life move, right? You're moving homes. You're thinking about changing jobs. You're about to get married. You're welcoming your first child. You're welcoming a child. All those things welcome us to invite, to welcome Christ into those moments. And if you use novenas, it's a beautiful way to help discern the process and to feel at peace when the process.
Yeah, and also to just prepare your mind and heart, your spirit.
Right.
It's a good way to like prepare yourself for the event.
Right. Let's keep rolling. Actually, hold on. I'm going to turn the AC on. It is hot.
Mucho. I'm going to fix your camera angle a little bit, Dave.
I'm choking again.
Did you put water in it? Water it down.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Just-
Yeah, I
just
mean,
give
it's
you
it's
water.
super strong.
It's hitting me like the other night.
I would go a little bit more than that.
I'm going to add some to mine.
Hey, bro, since you talked about the sacrament as a blessing, would you think about talking about like the sacramental graces you can call upon, like at any point during your marriage? It's like you get the graces then in the sacrament, kind of like when you get graces in confession, but you can draw upon those graces really all throughout. I think it'll be a good
Fix that screen one.
connection.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm ready.
Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. This is number 3. This is segment
This
number
is
3.
number 3, yeah.
Okay. Very good. We're talking about things to do when you prepare to welcome children into the world as a
See-
father.
You were just talking about novenas.
Yes.
Also, the Book of Blessings. The Book of Blessings is a book published by the church, or the USCCB? I don't know. It's an official publication of some kind. To me, the prayers in them are not like the most beautiful prayers I've ever read,
Mm-hmm.
but they do have the weight of the church behind them. That hey, these are the official, like this is an official prayer, official blessing for you as the father or like member of the household to offer in certain situations, and there's like tons of situations.
Right.
Childbirth is in there.
Right.
So I always like doing that. I try to use that before we take trips. Asking for a blessing for just safe travel, things like that. There's just so many. Really, the good thing about it is all of the different moments where they have a prayer.
That's the beauty of the church.
and it's like and some of them are like liturgical in like they kind of feel like a little bit liturgical.
Yeah.
They'll have maybe a reading from the Bible out of them. So that's another good suggestion for
Yeah.
Not only having a baby, but other important moments in your life.
Sure. So I think that this is also a good topic to have between you and I because like our wives' birthing experiences are very different.
They are. Yeah.
So my wife's like our first one with Luke, we had an emergency C-section. Almost lost him. Came pretty. His heart rate dropped down really low. Had to immediately get him out of.
Super scary.
Super scary. Was not planning on a C-section. In fact, I remember we did Did you ever do the birthing or like the prepping for birthing class?
Yeah.
You know, and I remember we were in the class, and then the C-section came out. And I was like, oh, I don't have to worry about this, and I just checked out. And I think I pulled my phone out. And I was like, I don't have to worry about C-sections. We're not doing a C-section.
Uh-huh.
And then
You know, as if like people plan. I mean, actually, some people do plan on a
Right.
C-section, but that's ridiculous.
right. So there's some obvious downfalls to having a C-section. There's also some benefits to having a C-section. One being that we know when the baby is coming.
Yeah.
So having like today is day 9 of our novena.
So I mean, sometimes she could still go into labor, you know, before.
Right.
I mean, it still could come, you know,
Right, but it's a little bit,
but probably, you know,
because they set it.
it's before the due date, you know,
right.
like a little bit. So.
But one of the things that I think you guys do, that you and Pamela do a great job of, is creating a list of intentions that you want to bring to
The Posadas do that. That's
yeah.
I don't know. I think we may have got that idea from them.
See, each contraction gets offered by something very specific.
So they write down a list, which I think is brilliant, because when you're in the heat of the moment, a lot of times it's like, oh yeah, I'll remember that, and no way, you're not going to remember that.
Right, but it's just like Exodus 90. What do we talk about a lot? You know, when you're taking a cold shower, it is so much better and easier if you have something to offer that shower for.
Right.
So for the women in labor, you know, if they can turn, you know, those labor pains into like, oh, this is for, you know, it's not just like meaningless.
Right.
Like, no, this is for, you know, this intention. It makes it easier to bear.
Well, and if you do it together beforehand, like
Uh-huh.
you do it as husband and wife, and you write down the list together, it just incorporates you guys being together, doing it together. I
Right.
think is a beautiful part of that aspect.
Totally.
So I like when I heard that, I was like, that is a good thing. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I think maybe some people hadn't thought about that. Another thing to do, bring holy water as a dad.
Yes.
Bring holy water. You never know what's going to happen. It would be great. You know, obviously it'd be great before the wife goes in to bless your wife with holy water and bless the baby.
Go
with
to
holy
a
water.
Catholic hospital if you can. You
Right.
know?
But also to have the holy water ready in the event there's an emergency and you have to get your baby baptized right then.
Right.
Now
You don't need holy water. You can use
any water.
dirty water.
Right. But it's just fitting.
Right. It's better.
And so, not that should be the norm, not that you should, you shouldn't do that unless there's a sense of an emergency, but
Right.
that should be one. Another thing to kind of piggyback off that is, and this is going to go a little out of order, but I'm okay with it.
Okay.
Get your baby baptized as soon as you can.
Yes. That's what I think. You know, what we do is like, well, the baby's born. Okay, well, probably the next Sunday, we're going to get her baptized.
I think it's so important
And, you know, like maybe if it's not if it's born on Saturday, obviously we're not going the next day.
right.
But, you know, we plan it. The baby's born, and then we make plans for the baptism for, you know, like the next available Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you shouldn't wait until everybody can be there and
Right.
everybody like that. While that is all good, it's good to have family around. It's good to have all your friends around. It's better to make sure that your baby is baptized.
Right.
If you want to have a party afterwards or whatever, like great. I'm all for parties. I'm all for festivals.
Oh,
right?
yeah, totally.
Big fan.
I don't even think you need a reason
But
to
well, you
have a
do.
party.
Turns out you do.
Well,
Joseph Pieper says so.
I know he does, but I don't think I need a reason.
So have a party whenever you want, when everybody can get there and celebrate. But the reality, if you understand what baptism is, and the gift that the church has given us in baptism, there's no reason to hold off.
Yeah, so when you wait, to have your child baptized in order so that so and so can be there.
Right.
What you're actually doing is introducing disorder into the priorities, because the presence of that person, while a great thing and like something that's really valuable, is not as valuable as the baptism itself. And so to put a lesser good, above a higher good is disordered. And so you just shouldn't do it. You should just get the baby baptized. And once again, we're not saying like, oh, quick, 5 minutes is too long, right? But we're just saying don't put it off for months.
Right.
And once again, you don't have to get it done like the week of, but you should do it. This is like your main priority as a parent. It's hard to say that you have a bigger obligation as a parent other than getting your children into the church, which happens through baptism. Okay, so this is your most important job as a parent. And so to put it off for reasons that aren't, like very pressing, it's just not the right thing to do.
Right. That's what I think.
Yeah. I know that there will be people who disagree with us on that.
For sure.
And I think that, at least I hope those people know that we just don't care.
We're not. Yeah. Let's go.
I get it that you disagree. There's there's a guy out there who's thinking like, I really disagree with that. I know you do.
It's okay.
It's all right.
It's okay. Hey, we're not saying that this is the way. We're just saying we're just giving advice.
Yeah, this is just our opinion.
This is just our opinion.
And for those people out there who are like really disagreeing with what I'm saying, I also know that my words will haunt you. I know that you will think about them for a long time, and you won't be able to get them out of your head, and you'll think that I'm wrong, and you'll be angry how I said it.
And just living rent-free in your head.
Right. And you'll be like, I can't believe I still think about how he said that. It's like, you know why? That's because I'm right, and you know it.
Another thing, and I've talked about this, I think it's been years since I probably talked about this, but one thing I think that is very important as a dad is, moms, they have a uniqueness of bonding, obviously, over the 9 months with the child that the dad does not, right?
And then through breastfeeding, I mean, it's just incredible.
Right.
The whole life of the baby and the mom.
Right.
It's just amazing.
So when the baby actually comes and is placed into your hands, it is a system overload of processing, and it can be emotional, and it can be a whole host of things, right?
Yeah.
In those moments, it's very easy to get caught up in it and not be able to remember them, because there's so many emotions that are like overcoming your reason or everything else, and so like you kind of forget about like what was that about, like what did I do, what was I wearing, what was so I encourage you before you as the baby's being placed into your hands, to engage as many senses as you possibly can in that moment. Take mental notes of, what does the room look like? What are you wearing?
To try to help your memory.
Yeah. What's the smell?
Mm-hmm.
What does the lighting look like? That moment of like, what does it feel like?
This is very hard to do for like people who are first time dads. This is going to be very hard because there's so many emotions,
right,
and like things are happening.
Yeah.
What are you supposed to be like when a baby is being born, at the very end things get crazy, okay? And you're trying to figure out like, what am I supposed to do? Because the thing is, there's not really much you can do, okay? And then all of a sudden there's a baby, and so like,
right,
you gotta be ready.
Yeah.
So
that's why
it happens fast.
It happens very fast.
Yeah.
And then it happens. You're like, oh wait, I can't believe that just already happened.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the moment you plan for your wedding, and then the wedding night happens. You're like, wow, that happened really, really fast.
Yeah. Even though it happened at exactly the appointed time.
Right. And so I just think I can recall those moments of this pure love of holding my children,
Yeah.
and like what it smelled like, what it looked like, and I try to engage what it felt like, so that way I can recall those moments, because in weeks to come you will not be feeling those moments anymore,
Yeah.
and so it's good to go back to those moments to help re-energize yourself.
Uno más.
See.
You okay, Jim?
Like last week.
It's strong. It is strong.
You did
What's the proof on it?
Probably 60.
60 something, 63 and a half. Did you miss that they don't make this anymore?
Yeah, I heard that.
Okay, I couldn't remember. I wasn't engaging all of my senses at that moment.
Turn them on, bro.
Okay.
All right. Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. I'm David Niles. Here with Adam Minahan. We got Juan on the buttons, Jim in the peanut gallery. Band's all here. Talking about having babies. And I was going to add something to what you had just said, and now I don't remember what it was. So
You weren't engaging all of your senses.
yeah, no, that's not what it was. You know what I don't support?
What's that?
Push presents.
I don't either. I don't at all.
Stupid. You know what? Let me just tell you guys. If you fall for the trap of push presents, you got problems, all right? It's a trap.
Here's why I don't like it. Because it's not saying that the baby is enough. It's
Right.
saying like, "Oh, I'm giving this to you because of all the work you did." It's like, "Yeah, the gift is the baby."
Yeah, but
The
also
ba-
it's like
Like I think you talk about a disorder. I guess we're going to just have a show of people
Yeah.
just not liking
we're
us.
We're gonna get emails after this. That's all right.
That's okay. I just think that the idea of a push present is so materialistic and so jaded with the idea of that you have to get them something for doing it when the baby. It's almost like the baby isn't enough.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. And I mean, here's the hot take. Like, the woman has the baby. That's what she does. That's her job. You know, like, when else are we, like, what other situation in life are we rewarding people for the thing that they're supposed to do? Other than the fact that they have done what they were supposed to do. You know what I mean? Like, I get,
Obviously, they have more than that, but yes.
yeah. Oh yeah. Well, they have more of a job than that. Yeah.
Right.
Obviously.
Right.
But I don't know. It's a bad precedent, I think, also as a husband
I agree.
to set, because
I agree.
Well, and you're putting like value on something. Like, what is it?
Yeah.
$50? Is it 1,000? Like,
Right.
what's it worth to you?
Yeah,
All this
exactly.
suffering that I just went through. What's going to be?
I
the
just don't
ticket on
like it. I don't like the idea.
yeah, and I also think it kind of, yeah, it's almost like the husband is buying the baby from his wife, you know, and it's like, look, the childbearing thing, we're in on this together. We're a team, okay? It's not like, oh, you did this, and I'm not a part of it, right? I understand that the birthing, is that way, but, it's like we have children. And so, like, I don't know. It just rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah, I
Push
agree.
presents.
Another thing to do that's prudent before having the baby, because the baby comes and then a whole host of other things come very quickly after, the next day or two, and if you haven't talked about them, it could be a little difficult to navigate because you're not ready.
Yeah.
Being with the shots that you want the baby to have.
Yeah, you have to
like,
figure all that out ahead of time,
ahead of
because
time.
otherwise, the medical staff will. Often medical staff have a tendency just to kind of push you into a certain direction with certain things, and then you might look into it later and wish you hadn't made that choice. Like, hey, you got to make your own choices. You're the parents,
Right.
okay? So you have to decide what kind of treatments you're going to have and which ones and nobody can make those choices for you.
You're the parent.
You're the one who has to make
So,
those choices.
Shots, circumcisions, things like that. It
Right.
just all needs to be thought of ahead of time. because afterwards you get put into that bind, and then you don't want to feel pressured or anything like that.
Right.
To make one decision or another, and it end up being not what you would have done.
Yeah.
So that's another one. Bags packed. Let's talk about that for a minute.
You got to have a bag ready.
I have not done that yet.
Dude, it's tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. I got time.
You do. I suppose.
What do you put in your bag? So what are we talking about? What do you put in it?
Well, so for the last few for us, we've had babies at home. So I actually haven't packed a bag. But when I was having babies at the hospital, obviously change of clothes. And then you'll need like diapers, possibly, baby diapers. The hospital will give you if you're having a baby at the hospital, they'll have diapers for you. You're going to need a snack. Okay, so you're going to like make sure to have some snack foods.
Mucho snack.
Because like you might get hungry and she's, in labor. You can't just like leave to go down to the cafeteria.
Sorry, honey.
Right.
Just hold it for just a little bit longer.
I have a cousin who was literally eating a sandwich and his wife had to tell him like, put that sandwich down. He's a cousin of mine. He has all the best stories. Anyway. So yeah, I mean, just like the usual stuff, a book to read.
Book is a good one. Yeah.
If you're at a Catholic hospital, they'll probably have a crucifix in every room. But otherwise, make sure to bring one. Whatever it is, your wife wants to have, like imagery wise, clothes, blankets, pillow. Bring your own pillow to the hospital.
Yeah.
Hospital pillows are gross.
And they're barely like, do they even constitute as a pillow?
I don't know, but like the hospital, they will cram pillows in like the grossest places, to help comfort a patient, and then you're putting your face on it. All right, bring your own pillow.
If you are a friend of, somebody who's giving birth, like about to give birth, set up a meal train for them.
Yes,
this is a great thing to do.
It's one of the best parts about having a baby is
like
getting the meal train.
Paid time off.
A month worth of dessert. I'm getting dessert every day for the next
doing
month.
Exodus 90.
No, that's too bad. Shouldn't have had a baby during Lent, okay? Or almost Lent.
Yeah. But that just takes one thing off of their plate, right?
Yeah.
This builds community. This is builds being able to be a good friend. It's just a good thing to do.
So let me ask you this. You have a baby. How long? You go and you have a baby.
Right.
How long until you want friends to come see the baby? Because obviously you want friends and family to see the baby, right? It's like you want to share this joy with the people that are close to you.
Yeah, so this is a good question. In fact, this is something I was going to bring up.
I'm asking this question for you, okay? I was earlier today at Mass. It's like Haley said, it starts at 7:15. I was like, I'll be there at 8:15, and I'll be 30 minutes after 1.
So this is actually something I was going to talk about. Is like the importance that has to like keep people to keep people at bay
until the right moment.
Until the right moment, right? So I think that it depends on the wife.
It depends. Yeah, that's what I think. It depends on the labor. It depends on like what happened.
Right.
How is she?
So for us, it's a little longer because Haley, with the C-section,
she needs to recover. Yeah, she's
going to recover. She has to like mentally like kind of get back all together because they give her meds and they give her all these pain medicines.
And you have to it also depends on the baby, right? You have to be able to like, okay, so if you have a baby that latches right away and starts breastfeeding, okay, that's great. The baby is going to be in a place where you can bring people in a lot sooner. But especially first-time moms often have a lot of trouble getting started breastfeeding. And the last thing you want is people knocking at your door
when you're trying to breastfeed.
Like incredibly frustrated and like often a little bit panicky because you're trying to feed your baby.
Right.
And
you're exhausted.
And your baby is hungry.
Right.
So it's like a lot of it, you need to be prepared. If you're a first-time dad, you need to be prepared to hold off visitors for a long time if necessary. Maybe it won't be necessary, but you need to be ready for it.
Right. Yeah. So I think that it's your job as a husband to kind of keep people at bay, visitors at bay, until you guys are ready. Because I think it's also very important for the mom and dad to have the time with the baby alone.
Yeah, I think so.
Without, before parents and then everybody else comes in, and then because you open the floodgates, and then all the people come in.
Yeah.
So I also think it's a great time to talk to your children about disinterested service.
Okay.
You're having a baby. The dynamics of your family are changing. Mom is going to be very focused on certain things, namely feeding the baby. We're going to be tired. We're going to have less sleep. And so the needs of the family have changed, and it's now going to be part of their responsibility as well to change with the needs of the family.
Yeah.
And so this gives them the opportunity to say, I need you to pick up X, Y, or Z slack here to help the family out. Not because, you're in trouble, not because, this isn't a punishment, but this is an opportunity to serve the family when they need something.
This is just what the family needs from you.
Right.
Right.
And if you have boys, I think that's a really easy sell because they want to have responsibility. They want to have duty.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's it like for girls for the most part.
Well, especially anything involved that revolves around a new baby.
That's probably
the girls are all in.
Right. So I think that it's also just a good opportunity as a family to sit down before the baby comes and say, listen, let's set the precedence, of the family, that baby's coming. We're going to be tired. We're going to the attention is going to shift a little bit. It's not because mom and dad don't love you or love the baby more than you or anything like that. But the baby needs a little bit more attention. And so,
just like you did when you were that age.
Right. And so that's something that you have to be aware of, is that when you have little kids, they're going to see it as, oh, mom and dad are not paying attention to me anymore. So it's very important to make sure that you put focus, time, and energy in specific children to make sure that they don't feel neglected as well. Because it's easy to focus all your attention to the new baby, but then also have them be a part of this new transition in the family.
Well, everybody, please say a prayer for Haley and Adam Minahan that the birth of their child goes well.
Yeah. We're out of time on the radio, but we're going to continue the podcast just a little bit, talking about a couple more things that dads need to do before the baby comes. More on the Lord's team.
The winning side.
So raise your glass.
Cheers to Jesus.
Cheers. Okay, a couple thing that dads need to do: set up a crib. Set up the crib ahead of time. Figure out the sleeping situation.
The crib can be the worst.
Because depending on what crib you
I
have.
don't know what kind of crib. We have this very sturdy crib
that has 72,000 pieces.
No,
Okay.
my father-in-law made it.
Okay.
He made it himself when Sean, his oldest, Father Sean O'Brien, has been on the show, before he was born.
Mhm.
So, but it's made out of hardwood.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not plywood.
Right.
So, I mean, it's just ridiculously heavy.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to negotiate.
Or navigate.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
I usually don't take it down, right? Because we've
Right. Ours is still up.
It's like set it up, but when we moved, I had to set it up again, and it was just in there, cussing at this thing. I mean, not actually, but
About to lose my salvation over this.
I was
stupid crib.
I was emotionally cussing at it.
Right. Yeah. So a crib, getting the crib set up is important ahead of time. There's a chance you may not even use the crib at first, but it's about getting it set up, being prepared, getting that done, putting it in the car, knowing how to put a car seat in the car, and doing it correctly.
This is the one thing that you will have to do in order to leave the hospital with your baby.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I think it's actually a little bit astonishing. When Elizabeth, our oldest, was born, they was like, all right, do you have a car seat? And we showed him. It's like, okay, yep, you guys are good to go. And it's like,
Wait, you're
what?
You're just gonna let us go?
We can just like leave? You mean you're telling me this baby we're just gonna walk off with it, and you guys are all right with that? Like, yeah, have a great
Have a great life.
Congratulations. And it's like you're getting in the car driving home like, did we just steal a baby? You know, it just feels weird.
Yeah, so know how to do it, because again, if you don't know how to do it ahead of time, you're like, oh, I'll just figure it out, and you don't know how the car seat functions. Which, by the way, if you're an engineer out there, you want to make good money, like figure out how to make an easy removable car seat, and you'll make a lot of money.
The KeyFit 30. KeyFit 30. I'm a big fan of that car seat.
That car seat is nice, yeah.
Yeah, I think it works really well.
But
speaking of car seats, as a man who's gone through a lot of car seats, my opinions of car seats has radically changed over time.
I guess we're gonna hear them.
Okay. Yes, you are. So I like the KeyFit 30. It's a rear-facing infant car seat. It goes up to 30 pounds. But then after that, you have to put them in like a bigger, like more regular car seat. And in the beginning, it's like, oh, I was doing this research. What's the best car seat? Like I want the safest car seat, all this stuff.
Turns out all parents want the best for their kids.
The safest car seat is like a freaking tank, okay, that you put in the back. And I got one. And like now I hate that thing. Okay. Now when I buy car seats, it's like, no, I don't care about it. I want the skinniest. And what's the smallest car seat? That's like still good. I want it to be safe, but it needs to be no wider than 13 inches. Okay. Because I need to fit 3 of these bad boys across. Okay. And like, don't give me with your side cushion airbag in your car, whatever. Okay. Ain't nobody got time for that. I got airbags in the car. All right. Do you know what I mean? Do you agree?
David Niles with the car seats.
Do you agree? It's like you have your first kid and you're like getting all this like, you get this monster of a car seat. You don't realize how big it's gonna be until you get it. And then you like eventually you move on, like, get rid of that huge thing.
Yeah, car seats have also been something that I've almost lost my salvation over. Like being ashamed, like I'm ashamed of it, but putting them in the right way, getting them all locked in the right way, you know, like making it all level. And when you are,
because they say also that a huge percentage of people are driving around with car seats that are not installed properly,
right?
And that is a problem.
Sure.
Well, and then you have to combine car seats with boosters, and the kids have to reach for the buckle.
Boosters, yeah.
And like, well, where's the buckle? Well, I don't know. This car seat is so wide that they can't do it by themselves. You have to go help them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you get the skinny car seat that transitions to a booster, it's still a skinny booster, and it's a lot easier for them.
Right.
I remember when my brother was born. I'm 7 years older than him, and so I remember like him being like 3 or whatever, and having this car seat where the car seat was like, seat belted in. He would sit down on this chair, and there was just like an arm, like a boom arm that would just kind of come in front of his lap and click. Right. That was it.
Right.
That was the entire car seat.
Right.
I mean, today there's no way that car seat would be.
Pass.
I mean, it's like if a policeman saw you with your child in it,
go into prison.
Yeah, it's like it's like child abuse. I don't know. It's definitely not legal.
Right.
But it's just funny the stuff that
it's just like,
we used to drive around with, and like everybody thought was safe.
Car seats are exhausting, and if you don't know how to do it, I'm speaking from experience. Like I thought, oh yeah, I know how to get a car seat.
How hard could it be?
How hard could it be? You're just clicking the things in.
It turns out every single brand can be drastically different.
Right.
On how it works.
And you're trying to get out. The thing is they won't let you leave unless that is installed properly. And so they're all looking at you, waiting for you to do it. Your wife is in there.
You should do it before you get there.
Yeah, just have it done. Just know how to do it. Just
do it the right way.
Words of wisdom there.
Personally, I only anchor. It's like if a car seat doesn't have anchors,
right?
I'm not interested.
Me too. I mean, that's just how I am. Now, sometimes in the back of a van, you do end up with a situation where there's only 2 anchors. And if you try to put 3 seats back there, I mean, eventually you can run into
that's just too bad.
Right.
That's the way it is. But
Another thing that you have to do as a husband is do your best to reduce stress for your wife through this process.
yes.
So what I'm going to do tomorrow is I'm going to sneak a beer into the OR. And when Haley is, going through her C-section and the baby comes out and they put the baby into my arms, I'm going to slowly reach down into my pocket, pull that beer out and my phone out. I'm going to cough because I'm not an amateur. I'll go at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
open the beer, take a selfie with the beer and the baby
In the OR.
in the OR to reduce my stress level.
Right. Because that's, what? We talk about this all the time, Adam. You cannot give what you do not have. Okay?
Right.
And if you're trying to give low stress levels and you ain't got low stress levels,
It's not
you
gonna-
can't give
you
it.
can't do it.
All right? You're not helping anybody.
That's right. That's
Okay?
right.
You got nothing to give but stress.
Right. And so it's your job as a husband and a father.
To sneak a beer into the OR.
Now, do you think I would actually get in trouble for doing that?
No. As far as I know, there's nothing that can happen to you. They'll be mad at you and they'll kick you out, but I don't think they can even charge you more. I don't even think there's like a beer in the OR
you-
charge.
They don't have a button for the beer in the OR.
No,
charge?
there's not. The thing is, there's not a billing code for it.
You think they're actually gonna kick me out of the room
Yes.
with the baby? Do I get to keep the baby?
No, they will. Well, do they? So when in a C-section, when the baby is born,
Mm-hmm.
do they give it to you like right then and there?
Right. Yes.
Okay. I don't think that they would let you leave with the baby. I think they would kick you out. And because I think they have to do like, what is it?
All the vital stuff.
Not GARP. But there's like a score
Mm-hmm.
that they have to do all this stuff. Take these tests and stuff. That takes place right away after the baby's born. So no, they would not let you leave.
I do have a sleeve that goes over beer cans that looks just like a Coke can,
Yeah.
and you
Well,
can
I
go
don't
with
want that. Like, I want the notoriety. Like, I want it to be.
The
a
thing
beer.
is, you can't take a Coke can into the OR either.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no food or beverage
Yeah.
in the OR.
No. Okay, so maybe that's not a good idea.
No, I think it's a great idea. In fact, I'm pretty sure it was my idea.
What was your idea?
It-
What about a flask instead of a beer? I think a flask you can sneak in better.
I think flask would be
Oh, a
easier.
flask. But the thing is, I think you kind of want to get caught, right? You're
Right.
like-
you kind of yeah. It's like because they're gonna go for the rest of their professional career.
It's
and be
about
like,
the story.
There was a dude who came in with a freaking beer.
He straight up popped the top.
He coughed and popped the top,
Cough.
thinking that I wasn't gonna know what that was.
See, I don't think you cough. I think you let it be. I think you let it ring out.
Maybe, yeah. So again, in all seriousness, so you're supposed do your best
Please pray for Adam.
to reduce the stress levels for your wife.
But as a friend, a good way to help the new mom do stress levels, we talk about meal trains. Another thing you can do is offer to maybe have play dates with the older kids, especially on those first 2 weeks, where you take all the older kids out of the house
Yeah.
and the mom can
It's a
be
great idea.
home
Mm-hmm.
alone. You can be like, hey, how about I take all the older kids, in the afternoon or whatever, and it's just you and the baby for the day.
No, that is a huge help.
That is, yeah. Being patient is another huge help. Like just knowing, especially if it's your first, knowing it's gonna be it's gonna be tough. Swaddle. Sometimes swaddling is not easy.
I am a swaddle ninja.
Yeah, I can. I mean, you practice.
You
right?
get good. I can wrap
Changing
a
diapers.
I can wrap a
swaddling.
baby so tight.
Yeah. But just be patient. Just it'll all come. The higher your stress levels are, the higher everybody else's is going to be.
One
Just
time-
be patient.
I guess it was when Davy was born. I was wrapping him up, and then the other girls wanted me to wrap them up. So I went and got a big blanket
And swaddled
and
down.
swaddled them up like super. And it was so funny because they couldn't get out. They were just like in a straitjacket at that point. I have a video of Elizabeth like rolling and flailing on the ground, wrapped up in
Trying
this
to-
big blanket, just making no progress. You know,
That's hilarious.
it was pretty funny. Juan, earlier when I told that story to Adam about like, hey, you should open this beer, I said, here's what's gonna happen: the baby's gonna be born, and you're gonna go, tsh, and then in like 2 seconds, you're gonna hear another, tsh, and you're gonna turn around and you're gonna be like, Juan, how did you get in here?
Hashtag goals.
Yeah. No kidding.
Yeah.
And then in my story, you said, I told him I was your brother, and they let me in.
Last thing is just to remember to tell your wife how much you love her, how
Oh,
beautiful
yeah.
she is.
In my experience, that's easy to do.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when my children have been born, yeah, I like fall in love with the kids, but actually the person I feel the most like passion for is my wife. Every time we have a baby, I just remember like I'll look at her and be like, that was amazing. You are incredible. I don't know if I've told you that lately, but you are just amazing. Like I have the things that you did today.
I am hungry.
It's like, yeah, exactly. So I'm going to go get a snack. But then when I come back, I want to finish this story.
Yeah.
Because
I've been amazing.
But really, like, I have just felt that way. Every time
Yeah.
like a baby's born, it's just I look at Pamela and like, oh, that was amazing.
Yeah.
You're my hero.
You have any other suggestions to dads?
It's all going to be okay.
Yeah.
You know what? It's like, yeah, you might be nervous. Everybody's nervous. It's going to be all right. And, like, I also want to encourage people who are married, don't put a number on your family. Don't say, like, oh, I want 2 or 3 or 6, or, like, just don't do that. Okay? Because that's not God's plan for you. Okay? You discern your children one child at a time. Okay, so don't ever. It's just a bad thing to do as like a precedent to set going into marriage. I think it just, because sometimes you might get that. Just like, I don't know. When we got married, I said like, well, I think 3 would be good, and so we had 3 and we stopped. It's like, well, no, don't do that. Children are this huge gift. They're the greatest gift.
Mm-hmm.
Someday, I guarantee you, when you get older, if you stop when you could have kept going, I almost guarantee you'll regret it. A day will come in your life where you say, I wish we had more kids. Will it be crazy at some points? Yes.
Will it be extremely tough?
Yes. Will it require sacrifice? Absolutely. If you like continue having more children, more than what you thought. But if you want a satisfying life, sacrifice
Is the way to do it.
that's the way to do it, right? You every time over and over and over again you hear this, Adam and Eve, what's the first thing God tells them? Be fruitful and multiply. Then Noah, the first.
Wait, what? I
Right.
thought that's what it was.
Yeah. Then when Noah comes out of the ark, the very first thing God says to him, he blesses them and says, be fruitful and multiply. Right. So like this is what you're called to in the married life.
Right.
You're not called to get your boy and your girl and then be done.
Right.
So just be open.
To life.
Yeah. And don't discern your 4th kid when you only have 1.
Right.
Okay. All you can do is discern your 2nd kid.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good advice.
So just take it one day at a time.
Yep.
Love your kids. You're going to be a great dad. If you love their mother and you love them
and the Lord.
and you strive every day for virtue,
Mm-hmm.
you will. It's like you don't need to read parenting books.
Oh yeah, that was something that
Okay.
I missed in here. I think it's worth saying is like, don't fall for all the things that you need for the babies.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
that's something I meant to talk about. Like, like the wet wipe warmers.
Yes, the wet. That's exactly
like-
what I think of.
like,
It's like
all these things.
a wet wipe warmer. Give me a break.
All these things that like people think that you need to have a child. It's just materialism. It is just it is just this idea of you gotta have this to have this. And it's like, no, you don't. You don't need all those things.
Highly recommend for your first baby, don't find out the gender. For this reason. And actually, you could find out the gender, but if you do, don't tell anybody. Because you're going to, have a baby registry, and you won't get the stuff that you do need. Like, you do need, like, a changing pad. Like, there are some things that you do
Diapers.
legitimately need. You need a stroller.
Right.
You probably need a diaper bag. There's a lot of things that a baby does need. There's a lot of things that you don't need for the baby.
Right.
Okay. You don't need 4 carrying, carriers. What do you call those? Baby carriers.
Yeah.
But if you know the gender of your child, the women who are doing the shopping, which there's not dudes out there shopping for your baby registry. Okay. Right. The women. It's actually, I think, proven by science that there's this there's this physical it's like an emotional hormonal response when they're going through the aisles at Target, and I think the studies have shown Target is especially strong hormonal responses in women when they're shopping for your baby registry.
You're so ridiculous.
They'll pass the aisles that have the baby outfits, and they know you're having a girl or a boy, and they see what is in their mind at that moment, the cutest baby outfit they've ever seen in their life. They may have come here to buy you diapers, or they may have come to pitch in on a backpack, like a stroller or something. But in that moment, they see no other way other than to buy you this outfit, okay? And then they black out, and they wake up in their car with a receipt and the outfit in a bag. And so they give it to you. And you end up getting 50 of the cutest baby outfits you've ever seen. Now, the thing is about babies.
They grow incredibly fast.
They grow very fast. They can only wear about 5 of those baby outfits. Those infant outfits. So you end up with a whole bunch of them that you don't need. Some of them you don't even like.
Right.
And you don't have a stroller. You don't have a baby. You don't have a diaper bag. You don't have a changing pad. You don't have onesies or all these other things. So, if all of this law of physics can be avoided by simply not finding out the gender of your baby, which is still makes for a great surprise.
Yeah.
Or if you find out, just don't tell anyone.
Yeah.
Say we're just not telling you until you can find out after our baby shower.
But because to your point earlier about reducing stress, if you go buy all these things you need, you end up spending a bunch of money. And then you're like, you know what's stressful? Bills. Bills are pretty stressful. And you just keep getting more and more of those. And you're like, what do you mean this thing is $150? Oh, but I need it to make it a baby experience better. And you're spending all this money.
Yeah. So again, this whole episode, other than the parts where we talked about the Catechism, the Council of Trent, straight from there. But outside of that, this is just our advice.
Yeah.
This is not church teaching or anything like that. This is just experience with a little humor.
It's Catholic Man Show teaching is what it is.
You're welcome.
Don't send us an email. We don't care. Unless it's a good email. We like those.
We like those.
Yeah.
Big fan of those.